Thank you. Okay, so I am Dee. I'm Lace Roots Mama on Instagram. I see a lot of you who I know well and follow. But yeah, that's like where my space is and where I post about our family and our oil journey. So I'm really excited to teach this. Before I switch it to sharing my screen and show you our presentation, I just want to jump on and say, oh my gosh, this is like such a crazy time that we're in. When Christina and I decided that we were going to teach this class, this was way pre-pandemic city. We just thought it was a good one to teach in general, focusing on stress and sleep and emotion, something that we both are really passionate about. Now fast forward in a global pandemic situation that's just gotten everything really crazy. It just feels really incredibly relevant. And even when I was prepping for it, I just feel like all the things I was like prepping and doing, I was like, oh man, I really need this right now. Or I changed a couple of my blends because I was like, wait, this is what I'm gravitating to 40 times this week. This is what we should talk about because this is like, I'm kind of like teaching as I'm doing it this week, just because this is a very extreme situation and it has affected people's sleep. And so thank you for joining us. And if you're feeling any stress, I hope that part of our presentation can help you or help someone in your family. So let's get started. I'm going to share my screen here. Okay. Give me a second. I'm not super technology oriented. Oh, what did it do? 1 second.
It's coming. It's coming.
Is it? Did you see how weird that was? Sorry, everyone. Okay, let's try that one more time. There we go. Okay. All right, let me just minimize this so I can see it. Okay. Okay, so I just wanted to start with kind of a mental check-in. So I planned this way before all this quarantining and craziness, but I honestly feel like now I'm like, we should probably be doing this like every day to just kind of be check in with your friends too about their mental health. This is something that like Christina and I have done in this time, and it's helped a ton. So you don't have to answer like on out loud, but keep your answers like just keep a mental note for yourself and then kind of think back to these little mental check-ins for yourself in general, but also especially like pretty actively during this like stressful time that we're in. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not at all and 10 being it's a big problem, how often are you aware of being stressed in your daily life? I think before this, you know, I would have answered this like something like, okay, I'm aware of it maybe like when my kids like are throwing tantrums or won't do a plan that I had or something. But right now I'm kind of aware of it semi-often, like all the time. How concerned are you about the quantity and quality of your sleep? I'm just going to answer these for myself personally, just to give you an idea of how I'm answering them when I check in mentally with myself. But for me, I think I was a really good, like pretty good sleeper before this. You know, when I go to bed, like I sleep solid, I wake up, it's great. I think I've definitely noticed like being extra stressed lately that even if I do sleep through the night, I'm waking up and, you know, some mornings I'm just feeling super exhausted still, or like I'm wanting a nap in the middle of the day, stuff like that. So that's just kind of telling me that my sleep isn't like what it could be. And how frequently do your emotions feel difficult to manage appropriately? Like I said, these were all pre-pandemic, and now it might feel like, it depends on the hour, depends on the minute, depends on the day. I know I've had like, I was just telling Christina before this, like, I feel like week 2 of this quarantine was like really good. I had all these like goals and I was really like motivated. And then this last week was a really rough one for me. I just felt a little bit unmotivated, a little down. And so how frequently do my emotions feel difficult to manage? So just keeping track of that. That's our mental check-in. And then going off that, I'm going to get a little sciencey and then we'll go into some blends to help. But in this diagram, the little red spot is the hypothalamus. That's the tiny control tower in your brain. And so when you're stressed, your brain literally orders, when you're stressed, it orders the brain to send out your stress hormones. And normally, these are designed to protect you. This is your brain responding to something that's going on with you. So something that happens to you, to things that are going on in your environment, and it's its response to that. But when this is frequent or prolonged or really extreme, like I would consider like this pandemic to be just like it's now becoming prolonged, but it's also really extreme. Like, this isn't normal. This isn't something that happens every year or every day. This is like a level up version of stress. And so when that happens, it can have devastating effects on physical and mental well-being. And so I want to kind of list some of the symptoms of chronic stress, or some things you might be feeling, especially in this season. And that's irritability, totally normal when you're stressed out, anxiety, depression, headaches, insomnia, poor immune function. If you've ever noticed like seasons of your life that you were really stressed, you probably or maybe got sick like kind of often, or you just like felt like you couldn't get better, like you were sick for a whole month. I know that times in my life when I just pushed and haven't actually like taken care of my body, I just feel like I have a cold that never goes away. And that's part of being stressed for a long time. Your body's immune system weakens and you're not able to fight effectively like you normally would be. And then also increased blood pressure. And so then since we're also talking about sleep, I just wanted to mention this blurb down here. 70% of problems sleeping are related to psychophysiological issues. And then 15% would be environmental and 15% medical. But basically those increased cortisol levels, which is that stress hormone that your brain is sending to make because you're stressed out, it's the response factor. If those stay increased, you aren't able to get that natural melatonin that tells your body, hey, let's go to sleep, let's get rest, let's restore ourselves. And so if we don't find ways to support our stress or like relieve our stress, we're going to be like affecting other systems of our body, like the melatonin, like falling asleep, like being able to relax, being able to be present, things like that. So I want to introduce you to excuse me, talking's hard, quarantine life. The doTERRA mood matrix. So this is the diagram. This is the mood matrix. These 4 oils, they call the mood matrix. And I love it, but I also kind of want to break them into kind of types of oils. So if you'll look, there's a y-axis and an x-axis, and the y is physical, so fatigue and to stressed. That's like how you're feeling physically. And then the x-axis is going to be your emotional, so no peace, oh, excuse me, I can't see that, no passion. So this is your emotional and this is your physical. So if you're feeling, you kind of just like check in with your body, check in with your mind, like how am I feeling? So if you're feeling high fatigue and also this no peace, restlessness, I call it. I'm also going to go into like, I'll call it like an anxiety, like something you're just feeling a lot of tension. Serenity is a good one. It's calming, composing, placating, but also I will say you're going to want to grab towards your oils for things like Serenity. So lavender, things that are really calming, like maybe frankincense, a vetiver I would reach to, things that are gonna like just help like your anxiety, maybe like you're even irritable, like bring those to like a halt. And then I'm just gonna go around a circle. So if you're feeling high fatigue and then emotionally you're feeling no passion, you're unmotivated, you have no creativity, you just need like a little boost, you're going to reach towards citrus bliss in this mood matrix, or I also love to consider this kind of quadrant to be like my citrus oil grab. So when I need an energy boost, when I need something stimulating, invigorating, I'm going to reach towards my citruses, which citrus bliss, if you don't have it already, has like all the citruses plus vanilla. It's incredible. But that one they have here because it's just that, it's that motivation. It's that push to get you going. And then I'm going to move down. So if you're feeling emotionally like the no passion and you're really stressed, maybe you're down, maybe you just feel like kind of like unmotivated, but more like maybe like overwhelmed or just don't want to get out of bed in the morning. You maybe need some encouragement, some cheering up. This they have here as elevation. I love elevation. It's super sweet and cheerful, if you will. And I've made up all these like sub quadrants for myself, but this quadrant I would put as like the sweet blend. So things like this elevation, arise, I'm going to talk about in a minute. Cheer is even a good one in this quadrant, just things that are going to help encourage and just comfort you, because this quadrant is like stressed and no passion, you know, just kind of the down and outs, if you will. And then I'm going to go to the last one is our balance. So that's if you're feeling just no peace, you're a little bit restless too, maybe worried emotionally, and then stressed physically, you're just really tense and you know, you just have this like worry about you. You're going to turn to like our balance, which is like one of my favorites. Christina's going to talk about it more in depth later, but grounding oils, reassuring, consoling. So I kind of consider this quadrant as like my grounding oils, which I usually tend to call the tree oils. So your frankincense, also balance, obviously it's on here, it's the best, but I also turn to like the firs or spruce, those kind of grounding. If I always think of the visual of like a literal tree being rooted in the ground, trees are strong and sturdy and grounding. And so if I'm like, I feel all over the place, I just need to be grounded, I always like, if I can't remember the mood matrix or whatever I'm trying to remember, I always turn to like, okay, I want grounding, trees. Like trees are grounding. Grab whichever one I find. Maybe it's frankincense, maybe it's Siberian fir, or maybe it's balance. So this is the mood matrix. I love it just because it's just a really easy visual to kind of get you started on like, maybe if you don't have these 4 oils, like maybe you can think of like, okay, well, I feel like I need Serenity, but I don't have it right now. So I'm going to reach towards my lavender or vetiver, things that are in Serenity that will give you that calming. And I'm going to go over a couple blends to kind of give you an example of using the mood matrix to like blend for emotions. One second. Okay. So this blend is going to be an uplifting blend. So I'm actually going to go back really quick. So it's going to be in this like quadrant of like the citrus bliss and elevation. It's going to be, you know, that invigorating, like a little push. It's going to be uplifting for you. And so I'm going to talk about these oils in depth. So Arise is one of my very favorites for emotions, and I have been reaching to it constantly during this quarantine. The blend is lemon, grapefruit, Siberian fir, osmanthus, and Melissa, which if you don't know, Melissa, like there's rose is our most expensive oil, and then it's Melissa. I think it's like $115 for a 5 ml bottle. It's pretty pricey, but it packs a punch. Like Melissa is so great. It's really, really good for immune support, but also so powerful for calming emotions and just helping bring down overwhelm. So I love that it's in this blend, especially since I've been using it in quarantine. This is actually the blend that a couple of days ago I realized like, oh, I need to switch up my slides because this is the blend that I'm turning to over and over and over. And it's because of my emotions during quarantine and because I'm feeling stressed. So I wanted to include it because I really wanted this class to be like, what are my go-tos when I'm feeling stressed? And what can I share with you about what I actively use every day? So Arise, it's uplifting to the mood. If you haven't smelled it before, it's really sweet. It has those citrus oils, but I think the osmanthus and Melissa are just really sweet. And it promotes motivation and mental clarity. I have on here supports brain fog, but I don't know about you guys. I'm calling it quarantine brain. I called it mom brain before quarantine, but it's just getting worse. This kind of oil helps me, and it's for that. Also, as I was like doing some research into the blends and oils that I was presenting on in the Oil Magic book, if you don't have it, I love this book, but I actually read that it's really good for respiratory support, which I actually didn't know about before this week. And so I just wanted to include that because I thought it was really interesting that something that my body was calling me to use over and over and over this week is it's immune support, it's stress support, and respiratory support, which is kind of unique for the season that we're in. So I just thought it was so like an added bonus for this week. And then black spruce. So this is one of the newer oils that doTERRA came out with at convention last year, and it's awesome. So before black spruce, Siberian fir was one of my favorites. And I still love Siberian fir, but I love black spruce. I feel like it's a softer version of like a fir, and it's really fresh, and I love diffusing it in our house, but it promotes grounding and comfort. It also supports mental stress and emotional release, which I think is huge right now, especially like whenever you're stressed about something, like your brain is signaling those hormones to go, in order to like help and take care of yourself, you need to find a way to release those. And so if we can have oils that help us do that, I mean, all for it. And it's also immune supportive. So again, I just found it interesting that the oils I was turning towards are naturally immune supportive while they're also supporting my mental. I love the like 2 for 1 that I'm getting, or more like 10 in 1 that I'm getting when I'm using my oils. And then grapefruit. So grapefruit is like a gentle detox, really good using internally. I have it listed here for a diffuser or for a roller, but I love dropping some in my water just to do like a gentle detox. And then it's just really uplifting, and it has that energy boost that I was talking about. You know, when you need to get motivated and you need a little push, you reach towards your citrus oils. And then also in the Oil Magic book, I found out that it's also antiviral support. So really good on the bottoms of your feet. So I listed here that you could diffuse it, but I also listed like if you want to add 6 to 10 drops of each in a roller bottle and top with your favorite carrier oil, you can have a roller bottle of this blend. Super good to use as like a pure fume blend. And then also like I've been using it on the bottoms of my feet when I wake up in the morning, and you're getting that antiviral support, the immune support, on top of just needing a little boost to get me going in the morning and like keep my spirits up when they don't naturally want to be up. Okay, and so I'm going to move on to another blend. We're going to share a lot of blends with you. If you want a screenshot or something like that, feel free. We just kind of wanted to give you options of things that we use, and everybody's different. So I feel like with mental health specifically, just trying different things and also kind of paying attention to the mood matrix to decide like, okay, do I need an uplift or do I just need like someone to hug me? Like, do I need the oils that hug me? So this we're calling the hibernation roller. So this is a roller bottle recipe. You could definitely diffuse them. I wouldn't do 20 drops of each, but do less. And this is in a larger roller bottle, not a 5 ml if you are looking. This recipe is a little larger. But so frankincense, prized for soothing, settling the mind. That's like one of the tree oils I was telling you about. Vetiver. Vetiver is one of the oils that's in Serenity, but it's just really earthy, and it is a natural tranquilizer. It's so calming and soothing. I love using this in a diffuser in my kid's bedroom at night to just kind of soothe everything. Bergamot. This is, it smells so good. It's like a really fresh floral blend, and it is a natural sedative, and it calms agitation and stress. So kind of just like be aware of what you're feeling. Like I said in the mood matrix, are you feeling anxious or are you feeling irritable? Are you feeling this? There's different ones. If you're feeling like irritable and angsty, like the floral oils and like bergamot are really great for that. If you're feeling just down and maybe even like depressed a little bit, like citrus oils with like grounding tree oils are great. And then the last oil in this blend is Roman chamomile. Super gentle, really calming and relaxing, and it really helps to clear the mind. So I love this roller for bedtime. If you want to do it on the bottoms of your feet, you can even like do it on your hands and inhale a couple deep breaths. You can even rub it on like your pillowcase or make like a spray. I love doing that. And then this last one is more towards the like Serenity, anxiety quadrant of our mood matrix. Christina's going to share more in depth on these oils, but our team loves this blend, and I really just kind of wanted to show you that here's an idea for something that's in the like really calming, like if you're feeling really, really irritable, you're just feeling like anxious, intense, all like just every fiber of your being, like this is such a good one. We call it liquid Xanax. It's kind of a joke. It's fun. But really, it just really just takes everything down a level to like calm it down so you can just think clearly. Serenity's a restful blend. Balance, like I've mentioned, is one of my faves. And then Copaiba, the CBD of essential oils, it's just really soothing. All of these are super calming. And so you could make this as a roller or you could diffuse it before bedtime. I just wanted to show like different quadrants. It's only 3, but I just wanted to show you kind of like based on what you're feeling, you're going to want to turn to different blends. And then since that one was pretty restful, I wanted to kind of give you some sample ideas of nightly regimens if your stress is affecting your sleep. So if right now you're waking up in the morning and you're feeling like you didn't sleep at all, even though you slept all night, or maybe you're just not falling asleep. I'm totally guilty, like not even guilty, like I'll admit, like during quarantine, like I'll be so tired at like 7 p.m. I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta go to bed. And then like whenever I lay down to go to sleep, my eyes, like I just can't go to sleep. I'm wide awake, even though my body's tired. And so I will be up for hours just not being able to fall asleep. So that's where something like a nightly regimen and just some support comes in. I use the nightly regimen is something that I use often. So if I need it, I've been using it more often during quarantine while I need it, but I love using Copaiba soft gels. doTERRA makes them. They have a couple drops of Copaiba in like a ready-made gel cap. And these copaiba soft gels soothe anxious feelings. They promote homeostasis and rest. I love them. Like, I've actually taken them during the day just to like calm. I've even taken them as like an alternative to like Advil or Tylenol for pain relief. They have kind of like a catch-all. They do a lot of things, but they're so good to promote like healthy rest. I feel like they just calm my body. They make like my muscles calm, like my mind calm. They kind of take like all of that. And then the adaptive soft gels. Christina's also going to talk about these a little bit more in depth, but this is something that I take. I've taken it in the morning, but I also have taken it at night, and it is super helpful in the evenings if you are struggling with sleep or falling asleep. Just really encourage relaxation, and they calm and promote positive feelings. This is one of the things that doTERRA made specifically for mental health, and it's really, really calming for bedtime. And then I put balance here because that's something I use before bed every single night. I use it on my feet, I rub it on my hands, I take a deep breath, and I just kind of like get it all over myself. And then I go to bed, and I love it. So, but I also wanted to give a little alternative nightly regimen. This is like another option. Maybe you tried one of these and it's not for you, or maybe you don't love balance or something like that. And so this is just another option. doTERRA carries Serenity soft gels. That is like a botanical blend. Serenity is not an oil you can take internally. So this is the internal version of Serenity in a soft gel form. And so it just, like I said, it promotes healthy relaxation and sleep. It just calms anxieties and things like that, and just allows your brain to clear so you can sleep. The Yarrow Palm capsules. This one's an interesting one. A lot of people are like, wait, those are for beauty. Like, that's a beauty product, not a sleep or like a supplement necessarily, even though it's like a pill. I think it was last week, Emily Wright went on and was talking specifically about these Yarrow Palm capsules because of the crazy time we're in and how stressful it is. And she was talking about how, yeah, they're for beauty and they do like help your skin look great, but really like one of the reasons they make your skin look great is because they're so good for promoting cellular health and like restoring those cells. And then they're also like really supportive of the brain. So they're supportive of the skin, but it's just like all, they kind of all hold hands. And when you sleep, it's your body's time to restore cells and like rest everything and like gear up for the next day. And if you're not getting good sleep, your cells are not being like restored and like having good health for themselves. And so these just really help to like support your brain. Like, your brain needs to shut down so it can restore for the next day. And it just is promoting like your cells in your body. And so especially during like quarantine stuff, I just thought like, this is one that I think like we should all take in the evenings just to kind of like give ourselves, especially when we're sleeping, that full restoration when we're sleeping. And then I dropped Serenity oil down here. If you maybe don't like balance or you love like lavender based stuff, this is a lavender base with like vetiver and some other really, really, really great oils for rest. And it's a good option to put on your feet. I always recommend putting oils on your feet before bedtime. It's just a good way of getting them in your system. Especially on kids, you can put them on their feet and then put socks on. We do Serenity and balance on our kids' feet, and then we throw socks on before they go to bed. So we love that one for a nightly regimen. And I think Christina is going to talk about our next line.
Okay, so let me share my screen. I'll share my screen with you guys. Okay. All right. Can you guys see it all okay? Whoops. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we can't talk about stress, sleep, and emotions without really kind of diving into the adaptive line. This is our brand new calming blend, and it comes in a trio, or you can buy these separately. But I'll tell you right now, when these guys were announced at convention, there were tears from a lot of us because we've got all those oils and amazing protocols that Dee kind of touched on, and I'm also going to touch on a few as well. And they're amazing, don't get me wrong. But there's something about the specific oils and botanicals that they included, especially the adaptive capsules, which I'm going to go into like further like science-y on it, that just... it's like a breath of fresh air. And I can tell you right now that I use these oils along with balance the most. What you see here plus balance is pretty much my like go-to. In fact, adaptive is diffusing behind me right now. So it's going to come in a capsule. It's going to come as a touch. which I have here, and it's also going to come as an oil. These two guys, they're the same. They're the same thing. This is diluted. This is undiluted. So, you know, this would be diffuser or make your own blend. This would be kind of like a grab and go option. And then just like the Serenity soft gels, the adaptive capsules is not quite the same as the oil. So it's in the same, you know, calming blend spectrum, but it's got some of the most amazing ingredients in it. And here is what, oops, there we go. Okay, so the adaptive capsules, you guys can read all of this, so I'm not going to read to you, you know, it's not story time, but let me just break down why these guys are friggin' fantastic. They have in it what is called gamma. And if you are unfamiliar with gamma, it's in our brain already. We produce gamma. It's a natural occurring thing. But for those of us who have stress, anxiety, any sort of, you know, in that department kind of an issue, what's happening is we're not producing enough gamma. And what gamma does is it slows down those stress like signals that our brain is just firing. When you've got enough gamma, it kind of slows that down and you're able to kind of control your emotions and your anxiety and your stress a little bit better. So for those of us that are having this issue, we need more gamma. Enter adaptive capsules. They have gamma in them. So you take the capsules, you're giving your body more of that gamma, and our body is now able to start slowing down or blocking some of those stress receptors and neurons that are just like firing in our brain. So it's super sciencey, it's super amazing, and they really friggin' work. I'm not joking. I like to take these in the morning, but I have customers who love taking these in the afternoon. I have some that love taking these before bed. It kind of is something you want to play around with and find what works for you. One in the morning is kind of what I need because that's when my stress is the highest. There's something about like right after breakfast, my little one is going bonkers and I literally feel like I can't deal with anything. So I take one and I'm pretty good to go. But I have a lot of customers whose stress kind of creeps up at nighttime and that's when they like to use it more. So, you know, it's going to be up to you. Now the calming blend, this is that undiluted bottle. This has things in it like magnolia, which you're really gonna smell kind of right off the bat. It's got that copaiba, which is kind of, was our first anxiety kind of oil and soft gel before we had adaptive. Well, actually that's not true, it was the Serenity. And then it went to the copaiba soft gels and now it's switched over to the adaptive. It's got spearmint. So a lot of people kind of feel like spearmint is like peppermint in the sense that it is a stimulatory and it's not actually. Spearmint is more of a emotionally kind of calming oil. So we have been diffusing this a lot at nighttime. And if you want one of the best immune support oils ever or blends ever, do equal parts of On Guard and spearmint in your diffuser tonight. It is fantastic, but you're going to get a really nice kind of calming, comforting, the like spiciness of the On Guard. Anyway, that's a different story, but it's got the magnolia, it's got rosemary, it's got wild orange, it's got lavender. And even if you're just a basic user of oils, you know that all these oils that I just mentioned, these are just a bunch of really amazing calming oils. And then that touch that I touched on earlier, this is literally just that oil in a to-go roller. So it is diluted. It has fractionated coconut oil in it. It's just like any of our other touches that we have. You know, you're just going to grab it. You're going to use it. It's got the little roller bottle. Put it on your pulse points, on your temples, behind your neck, your wrists. Just sit and breathe it in if you need to. The only word of caution I would say about this is it does have wild orange in it, and that is photosensitive. So put it on a space of your skin that's not going to have the sun hit it directly. Where are we going though? So honestly, you could put it anywhere you wanted right now. Okay. If you didn't get enough of my face on the screen, you can also now see a double version of my face with the best Photoshop job I could do of me holding a bottle of Balance. So Balance is my favorite oil that doTERRA makes. I share my testimony on it all the time. I'm not going to do that here, but it just has a special, special place in my heart. And I literally cannot go a day without smelling or wearing Balance. It is super grounding. It is a super woodsy, like all those kind of fur woodsy kind of ness that Dee was touching on. It also has osmanthus in it, which I've realized over the last couple of years, if it has osmanthus in it, I love that oil. Arise has it in it. Yeah, I mean, every single blend that I have, I'm like, oh yeah, and then it has, so there's something about it. It's just such a great thing. But it is just such a good stress, anxiety, and emotional support oil. You're going to apply it to your pulse points. You're going to apply it, just literally it's already a little bit diluted. It has barely any fractionated coconut oil in it. So you can totally just do it neat, rub it on the palm of your hands, breathe it in. Sometimes I like to kind of do this and put it through my hair. And then you kind of create your own like diffuser thing in a sense. Put it in your diffuser. It is totally safe for your diffuser, even though it has coconut oil in it. It's such a minimal amount. It will not mess up your diffuser. The only thing you cannot do with it is take it internally. But I use it as a pure fume, sometimes just by itself. But since we talked about some of Dee's oils, Arise and Balance mixed together is fantastic. Grapefruit and Arise and Balance, grapefruit and Balance, adaptive and Balance. I mean, literally wild orange and Balance, anything like that. Any citrus oil loves Balance. It's just such a good oil. Everybody needs to have the literal balance in their life. Okay. 2 oils, one that we sort of touched on and one that we haven't yet is going to be Peace and Serenity. Now, Peace is actually part of what is called doTERRA's Emotional Aromatherapy Collection. So if you didn't know that, now you do. doTERRA has a whole emotional collection. There's some of the more pricier blends, just so you know, so don't get sticker shock. So if that's not for you, you could definitely get a more budget-friendly touch version, which is why I've included that in here. But Peace is kind of one of our favorite for stress, sleep, and emotions when we're talking about the emotional aromatherapy aspect of it. It has got that vetiver in it that Dee was kind of talking about. It is a very like heavy oil in the sense of what it smells like. It's not light and fruity and sweet. It's just more like earthy and heavy. It is so good for sleep. It is so good for stress. I also call this my tantrum blend. And so if you've got a little one, I'm not kidding, rub this on the bottoms of their feet or dilute it appropriately if you've got a really little one, behind their ears. My son knows when he sees the blue label coming that something happened. But it really, really, really does work. And if you can afford to get the undiluted bottles, they're all gonna come in 5 mLs. Adding a couple of drops of this in diffusers next to your bed, or just where you kind of are to recuperate or breathe or anything, is going to be really, really great. And if you're a fan of vetiver, you're gonna really like Peace, because in my opinion, that's kind of one of the more pungent smells that comes through. Then Serenity, we touched on a little bit, so I won't go super duper into this, but it is another just fantastic oil specifically designed for sleep. It's got the lavender, it's got vetiver, it's got a lot more wood oils like cedar wood, hoe wood, like just really heavy. If you want to get chemically and sciencey, they're called serpentines, which are literally heavy oils. So you'll notice sometimes when you put oils in your diffuser, some of them will sink to the bottom and some float to the top. Peace and Serenity are going to have a little bit more of those heavier oils, so it might actually kind of sink to the bottom of your diffuser. Those types of oils, those ones high in serpentines, those are really great for grounding, calming, kind of keeping you down. It's just such a great oil. But this also has vanilla in it, vanilla absolute. So that's what makes it it's just good. It's just a well-balanced, just yummy oil. I love, love, love diffusing Serenity at nighttime in my son's room. He's 5. In our room, just by itself. but it loves being mixed with other wood oils like cedarwood, copaiba, which is technically a resin, but that's okay. Wild orange, tangerine, anything like that. Serenity loves to be mixed with lavender. It's got lavender in it, but you could always kind of echo that with the lavender. And then here are some really, really easy, like stress, sleep, and emotion 101 kind of diffuser blends if you guys want to screenshot this or take a picture. So we've got adaptive and wild orange. You could even, and then we have balance and wild orange. I was going to say you could switch them, but it's there. Forgive is another one of our emotional aromatherapy oils. This one's going to be a little bit more on the Arbor Vitae. So it's kind of more, it's a manlier smell, in my opinion. It's very like you walked into Home Depot. I like it. But so Forgive, Balance, Breathe, Peace, Balance, Vetiver is going to be really good. And then Citrus Bliss, Sandalwood, Grapefruit, and Elevation. That would be a really good stress kind of blend. Any of the ones with the Peace, the Vetiver, the Forgive, those would be really good kind of nighttime diffuser blends. Okay, and then here are just some of my top favorite roller bottle recipes. These are for 10 ml rollers, so if all you have is a 5, just half all the drops or as close to what you can have. If it says 7, do 3 or 4 drops, whatever you want. And then of course, this is for adults. So you would have to kind of talk with your wellness advocate, whoever signed you up and sent you here, if you had a little guy that you wanted to make this for, because let's be honest, our little guys are sometimes feeling some of these stresses. And I don't know about you, but there's some days that I do good as a mama in quarantine and with this pandemic going around me, and my little one is having a great time, but there's sometimes I'm just not doing well, and he feels that. And so, you know, if we're supporting ourselves, you know, emotionally, we need to be supporting our little guys too. So don't neglect them. You know, make them a deep sleep roller if they're having a hard time sleeping. Make them a liquid Xanax that Dee kind of talked about earlier if you're feeling that they need that. Get it on the whole family. You know, we love oils. Little guys love oils. And then for the deep sleep, I put a tiny pour of Peace because I was referring to that touch. But again, if you have the actual Peace 5 ml, you could just do a kind of, you know, 2 or 3 drops, whatever you wanted of Peace in there instead. But these are just some of my favorite kind of go-to recipes. Okay, and then since we are all customers, we're already loving doTERRA and stuff. If you are looking for creating your next wellness box, your next LRP loyalty rewards program order, and you're like, you know what, I haven't even processed April yet. I want to do, you know, stress, sleep, and emotions for April, or maybe you already did, but you need an idea for May. I'm going to give you a couple of sample wellness box ideas, different price points, different PV points, and then depending on if you want the free product of the month or not, you might have to add something on or not. So this is our first one that we put together. It's a pretty thorough one. It's going to give you that whole adaptive collection. So you can alter this if you're like, well, I don't need the touch and the bottle oil. Choose which one you want. And then maybe put in Serenity instead, or, you know, whatever it is you want. Or like if you don't want the copaiba soft gels, switch that for the copaiba oil. So really you can make this your own. Of course, the price is going to change and the PV is going to change. So just keep, you know, be aware of that if you're trying to hit like a product of the month threshold or whatever. But honestly, taking those adaptive soft gels in the morning, doing the copaiba soft gels at night, rolling on your adaptive roller in the morning, putting balance on your big toe in the morning, putting balance on the bottoms of your feet at night, throwing adaptive in your diffuser in the morning, throwing balance and wild orange in your diffuser at night. That's just a sample of what you could do with this wellness box. Then we have one that you probably have already seen if you've been a customer for a while. This is nothing new. I do not take credit for this LRP box, but this is obsessed with essentials, all of us teammates, this is our favorite kind of combo of stuff, which is why I brought up that peace roller, because I feel like some of those emotional aromatherapy oils, they're not really talked about enough, and they're so good. Like doTERRA just knows what they're doing when they make blends. So for something like this, you would want to add like a wild orange or something around that price point to get the free product of the month. So just be aware of that. So it would bring your total to $131 or something, and then you'd get whatever so this month you'd get that, what the heck is the clementine. Yeah, I was like, Palmarosa, no. So then for this, in the morning, I would probably maybe put a couple of drops of copaiba under my tongue. I would rub balance on the bottom of my feet, or maybe kind of put it on the back of my neck, rub it through my hair. Then midday, maybe I'd take my peace roller and roll that on me, maybe a little bit on my kid. And then at nighttime, I would put in probably Serenity and copaiba in the diffuser, or that Serenity and Balance, get that liquid Xanax blend, copaiba, and then take a couple of Serenity Restful Blend soft gels about 30 minutes, 45 minutes before bed. And just really kind of don't negate your sleep. Also, I really I have Hashimoto's, and so I have learned the hard way that sleep is the most important thing, and rest that you can do for yourself right now. You can exercise, you can eat right, but if you are not sleeping and you are stressing like a maniac, none of that's gonna do jack squat for you. Sleep is when our bodies recuperate. It is when our brains regenerate the things that we have taxed or burnt out throughout the day. So if you are not getting restful sleep, please address that. And your wellness advocate, whoever they are, they would be more than happy to just help you find a protocol with what you have, or help you find some things that you can implement, because sleep is just such a beautiful thing. And lots of water, drink lots of water. Okay, and then the last one I have is a little bit more on the ones that Dee kind of touched on, but still just as good. We're gonna have that adaptive roller, so it's just the touch. This is gonna get you the free product of the month. So, you wouldn't have to add anything else on. But for this one, I might make a roller of grapefruit and a rise and kind of use that in the morning. If you have morning anxiety, you could take an adaptive soft gel. Then midday, maybe switch your diffuser to like, black spruce and grapefruit and a little copaiba or something, whatever you're feeling. And then at nighttime, you could do some more copaiba soft gels, and then maybe just do a black spruce and copaiba at nighttime, and just get yourself a real good woodsy, resiny, like deep kind of sleepy blend. And then you would do the same sort of thing for your little guys as well. Okay. And then lastly, and then we'll do a short Q&A, guys. This one, Lindsay actually touched on this way in depth. So if after I'm done with this, you're like, wait a second, what? Go watch her video, because that's all the class was on. If you do not know what Symphony of the Cells is, you guys are missing out. I'm just gonna be completely honest with you. We are obsessed, we as in my family, we are obsessed with the Symphony of the Cells. This guy, I don't remember his name because it's been a while since I learned it, wrote this book, and then he has since upgraded the book, which is what you see here. This is the upgraded version of the best techniques for all the different systems in our body. And they are very, very thorough, but easy. Like, you don't need like a science degree to know how to do any of this stuff. The book is small, but it is just one of the best kind of weapons that my house has. So there's one for immune support. So hello, guess what we've been doing on all of us at least once a week? Emobic, so that's your emotions. So this one is going to be fantastic for us to do right now. So I'll get to how you would do this. So screenshot it, take a picture, do whatever you need to do right now. There's lymphatic, there's digestive system, there's like pain, fibromyalgia, musculoskeletal. There's so many different things that different protocols that you can do. And it's a cheap book. I think this book is like 12 or 15 bucks. If you don't have it, get it. But here is one little excerpt from one of the pages. It is our Emobic protocol, which is everything stress emotions. I was looking for my book, which is what happened when Dee called me to teach, but I couldn't find it right off the bat. I could read to you specifically what it addresses, but I know for a fact it's going to be like anxiety, PTSD, you know, stress, postpartum depression. It goes so many different things this one protocol is good for. And so what you would do is you would lay your person or have your husband lay you down on the bed, on your tummy, without a shirt on. So the person wants to be shirtless, braless, whateverless, because you need your whole entire back. And then what they're going to do is they're going to start at the top, which is frankincense, and they're going to work their way through every oil, ending with spearmint. So again, spearmint's coming up. It is not an energetic, stimulating oil like peppermint, guys. And the different little symbols, if you see the one that's pointing to the neck, that's the neck. But if you see the nose, so what you would do is you would take frankincense and you would rub it on like the neck and the shoulders. And then it says nose. So then that person would come around and they would cup their hands around your nose and you would just breathe in that frankincense. And then lastly, they would walk to your feet and they would rub that on the bottoms of your feet. Then they would go to step 2, neroli. So they would grab the neroli. They would rub it up and down the spine. That's what that one of the back is. And technically what you're supposed to do is put drops of oil, or in neroli's case, just kind of roll it. And then you're supposed to make big circles starting at the top and working the way down all the way to, you know, the hips and like booty area. And then you would just start at the top again, rub it in, down. So then with neroli, they would cup it over your nose, finish with the feet. Then with rose and jasmine and any of those that you see with the hand, you're going to start with the hand. So that person would rub rose on your hand. Then they would cup it over your nose. Then they would rub it on your back. Then they would do it on your feet. Then you see all the way after jasmine is when they would do the carrier oil. So a lot of these oils are already going to be diluted, neroli, rose, jasmine, unless you're super special and you got that jasmine. I don't think any of us except for Dee has. Or you're wonderfully blessed and you got that undiluted rose. All these are going to have fractionated coconut oil in them anyway, so they're super gentle. But then you're going to put a carrier oil on, rub it all over the back. And then you're going to start getting into some of those oils that might need a little bit of dilution. So then we go into the spikenard and the melissa and the centering and the Douglas fir, and then you finish with spearmint. And then at the end of any Symphony of the Cell protocol, the best thing to do, which sometimes we can't do, but if you can, is to put a blanket over the person, or even better, like a heating pad, and just let them lay there and let the blanket, the heat of their body trying to escape, be trapped by the blanket and push it back down. It's kind of like a hot compress. Push these oils in, drive these oils in. And there is something about the order of the oils and the specific oils you're using and where you are applying them to that person's body. It's just life-giving. This is actually one of my favorite ones, this one we're looking at right now. It's so good if you have Hashimoto's, but hello, especially during quarantine life, this is one I challenge you all, before next weekend, perform this on your husband, perform this on your kids, and then have your husband perform it on you. When it comes to the oils like spikenard and melissa, centering blend, Douglas fir, and spearmint, for an adult, you're going to drop, and frankincense too, for an adult, you're only going to drop maybe 3 or 4 drops up the spine. For a little guy, I'd probably only do 1 drop at a time, because if you look at it, there's quite a few oils. They'll be totally fine. If your little one has super sensitive skin, maybe start with the carrier oil before frankincense, and then just omit it when you get to the carrier oil part. But I'm telling you, we do this on my 5-year-old, just a drop of each of the oils or 1 swipe of the neroli, touch jasmine, whatever it is. And he hasn't had any rashes or anything like that. So, okay, let me unshare. And then if you guys have any questions, am I not able to see how to unshare? Oh, there we go. Okay. You guys can let us know. I'm not finding how to unmute and unshare.
the top, there should be like a little, maybe a little
Oh,
red
there we
thing,
go.
maybe?
I got it. I got it. There we go. Sorry.
You're
Okay,
good.
so I will unmute, or you guys just unmute yourself. If you have any questions, just unmute yourself and you guys can ask, and then we'll pop off in like 5 or 10 minutes.
Greta had a question on here that I just wanted to say out loud because I don't know if you saw it, but she was saying like after doing Symphony of the Cells, like if you were to put a shirt on, will the oils just absorb into your shirt, or like how much time should you wait to like lay there without turning your shirt back on?
Good question. So part one, we always do this at nighttime. So all I'm throwing on is a jammy shirt. Doesn't really bother me if their oils get on it or not. But also, I've never experienced like a bleed through of oils. You have to remember that essential oils are actually not like the fractionated coconut oil or olive oil or anything like that. They're very volatile, meaning they evaporate so fast. So you're putting that carrier oil on, which would be kind of the only thing that you'd be nervous about, pretty high up in the protocol. And then all the rest of the essential oils that you're putting on afterwards is only further and further and further rubbing in that coconut oil. So I would be fine saying you could put a shirt on right away, maybe not a silk blouse, but cotton for sure, like you're gonna be fine. But if you're nervous about that, wait 5 or so minutes, which only is going to benefit you. Have your husband or so or whoever put a heavy blanket on you. Just lay there, enjoy what has just been done to you, and then go ahead and get up and put your shirt on, and you're going to be totally fine. Yeah. Jenna said she's never had stains with any doTERRA oils. It's because they're such high quality, they do what they're supposed to do. You could literally drop a drop of lavender on your wrist right now, rub it in, and then go and grab something and smear it right away, and you won't have any residue because they soak in and they evaporate and they do what they're supposed to do.
Okay, I wasn't so worried about the staining of anything. It was just more, I want to get the full treatment, so I don't want to, put it on too quickly or whatever. So, but perfect. Thank you.
Good. Awesome. Does anyone else have any questions?
Anything else, you guys? I'm now getting through your questions. Oh yeah, there was one about alternative oils. Right,
Yeah.
so in the Symphony of the Cells booklet, all the way in the back, they have a list of alternative oils, because let's be honest, I don't have Melissa, and Melissa is used in almost every one of his protocols, but he gives you like an option 1 and then an option 2. So you will be able to have, if you have even like a smaller collection, for the most part, I think you'll be able to do all of them, because he'll give you like a, if you don't have this, replace it with this, but if you don't have this, replace it with this. But then yeah, if you don't have, like let's just say you don't have any of what Melissa would be, just skip it, move on to the next one, because you're at least getting what, you're trying your hardest in a sense, and it won't negate any of what you've done.
Also, like to tag onto that answer, like for your question was at least being pregnant or something, like say the substitute, like it's not this, but say the substitute for jasmine was going to be clary sage or something, another one you can't use, like yeah, you could skip that, and like she said, like it's not negating like the goodness you're getting from all the other oils, because your body isn't going to benefit from having jasmine on it in that time, so don't do that to you.
And then, yeah, of course, like if you're going to put oils on yourself at all, if you have a pre-existing condition, if you're on certain medications, if you are pregnant, if you are nursing, these are things you should be aware of to begin with, not even just with Symphony of the Cells, but just in essential oil usage in general. Don't be afraid of them, but just be aware. And again, talk with your wellness advocate. That's what they're there for. Or you can always hop in our group, our Facebook group, and you can, search it, ask it, whatever. But just obviously there's certain oils that you shouldn't be using if you're pregnant, breastfeeding, or certain medications. So just know. Any other questions, guys? Okay, we are to the minute. in our time frame. I am so proud of us. You guys, so I was actually supposed to not record when we were doing our Q&A. I'm so sorry. If any of you who asked questions and we maybe said your name, if you're really uncomfortable with it, let me know and I'll go back through and I will edit the Q&A part. But if no one cares, I will just keep it as is, because Melody does want us. I know, I know no one's gonna, I don't think anyone's gonna care, but I do want to be very, just sensitive to anyone who is maybe like, oh, wait. It will be up in our group. I don't know when, maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow I'll get it up. So if you want to go back through or you want to send it to somebody or just reference or whatever. Yeah, I didn't think anyone was going to have a problem with that. But you guys, thank you so much for just joining with us. I hope you guys learned a lot. Feel free to ask any questions on anything. Dee and I were on Instagram. We're always on Facebook. What else do we have to do right now? And
interaction with other humans that are our age. I don't know about you.
Help us feel like the adult connection. But you guys enjoy your Sunday. It is 5:30. You guys have I know, let's just all hang on and just chat for the rest of the night. Love you guys so much. And thanks for hanging in, guys. We'll talk to you guys soon.